I thirst. That was the fifth word that Jesus spoke. And the scripture says, later, knowing that everything had now been finished, and so that scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, I thirst. Yes. If I could just tag that topic for a moment, just for a moment.
Yeah.
I would say, if I use my imagination,
come on.
Be careful what you ask for.
Absolutely.
Be careful what you ask for.
Mighty God.
You know, there's been a lot of study on the elderly. And they say that they studied the elderly right before they were dying, and a lot of them was in hospice. And they had questions for these people that had reached the end of their lives. And one of the things that they asked them, what do you really wish that you could have done if you had the opportunity? And most of the people right at the end of their lives was filled with regret. They were filled with, I wish I, and I should have, and I want to, because they didn't ask for the things that they wanted in life. So now they would never have the chance to fulfill a lot of things that in the Urban Dictionary that they were thirsty for, because they didn't ask for some of the things that they want. You know, this scripture here, I'm thirsty, has a lot of theological debate about this word spoken by Jesus. Religious scholars will argue that there is no clear-cut understanding of exactly what Jesus was implying when he spoke the words, I thirst. Conventional and logical thinking would have one to conclude that Jesus was thirsty for water. Thirsty for water. But this scripture to me is filled with a lot of dichotomy. There's a division between two things that are entirely different. You have science, and then you have religious mysticism going on right at this moment. Because the science will tell you that for somebody that's been suspended in a hot climate, right hand nailed, left hand nailed, feet nailed, crown of thorns on his head, dragged through the streets, cross bearing up and down cobbled roads for 6 hours would be ready to die. And that the suspension of the cross would have Jesus in a moment of suffocation, because pleurisy in your lungs would build up with fluid and you wouldn't be able to breathe, because the weight of holding yourself up from being suspended with spikes in this hand and spikes in that hand would be too much for a human to bear. But we have the other dichotomy, religious mysticism. Because if you know Jesus like I know Jesus, that this is no ordinary man. And look at your neighbor and say, but. Say, but. But if you're a Bible reader, Fred, you should quickly point out that there's nothing logical and there's nothing conventional about Jesus. You see, Jesus is the rock from which the wandering Israelites drank water in the desert. Jesus is the living water that hydrates the woman at the well. When he walked to the woman at the well and he asked her for some water because he was thirsty, and she told Jesus that I can't give you water because I'm a Samaritan and you're a Jew. But he told her, woman, if you only knew who I was that asked you for this water, and then if you would have honored me and given me this water, that I would have given you living life. I am the living water. So if you think Jesus was on that cross asking for some water, you're sadly mistaken. Because on that cross, the living water couldn't possibly get thirsty for water. You see, salvation. His spiritual thirst was for the desperation of the people that he was dying to save. See, I'm here to tell you that Jesus might have died and he wasn't thirsty because when he rose, he was refreshed. How can you die thirsty and rise refreshed? That's the dichotomy in the scripture. See, it was the stretch on the cross. The stretch on the cross that tells us how hard it is to get to God. You see, Jesus was stretched. And a lot of us been stretched on this Christian walk trying to get to God. You see, we often crumble if we were stretched and hung and suspended. And with people standing around us begging for our clothes and gambling and laughing. But right in the suffering of Jesus' thirst, he was promised the full restoration of fellowship with his Father. Jesus knew that God was smiling and that there was a promise made that one day my smile would turn toward you and the people that I sent you here to die for. You see, John 3:6-35 tell us that when we are weary, God hears us. That when we're lonely, God comforts us. When we are poor and sick and need water and there is none, the Lord says, I will provide you with water. Because whoever believes in God shall never be thirsty. If you believe in God, you will never be thirsty. You see, when they beat Jesus, those Roman soldiers, and they nailed him to the cross, they knew exactly what they were doing, but they didn't know who they was doing it to. It is important to know that that cross you see suspended behind me, it was just the transportation to get Jesus to the destination, because it was important for Jesus to leave the cross in order to show us how not to get stuck in situations. You see this cross behind me? It turned into the crown of glory for Jesus. It was just a destination. Jesus had to get on that thing so he could be transported up to the place so that he could be fulfilled. The prophecy could be fulfilled because the word says that Jesus knew that everything was finished now. And so that the scripture could be fulfilled, Jesus said that I'm thirsty. Well, I'm here to argue that the thirst was more than water. And that it could not have been for water if Jesus was the living water. Because when the soldier walked by the men hanging on the cross, one of the things that was part of their duties, because they was tired of being in the sun, was to break the legs of the people on the being crucified so that they would die immediately from suffocation. But when they walked up to Jesus, he was already dead. And the soldiers wouldn't let Jesus have the last say, so he took his spear and he pierced him in his side. And when he pierced him in his side, blood came out and water. When he pierced him in his side, blood came out. It was the blood and water came out. John tells us that. So my argument today is that Jesus' thirst was for his return to God, and that his life and his death be used for the salvation of mankind. And as you go and you enter into